Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber. As you know, right now we have 50 Republicans in the United States Senate and we have 50 Democrats in the United States Senate. The Senate Minority Leader is a Republican leader, Mitch McConnell. There he is. What's up, Mitch? And the Senate Majority Leader of the Democrats, the Democratic Senate Majority Leader is Chuck Schumer. What's up, Chuck? Well, here's what's going on. The Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, gave a searing statement on the floor of the Senate today. It was quite a statement. He started by slamming remote learning and saying, hey, we're not going to be okay with remote firefighters, remote policemen. Remote learning is not the way to go. Kids need to get back in school. We need to follow the science. We need to proceed with vaccinations. And that should be the number one priority, getting kids back to school. He said that the hypothesis that kids can learn at home or learn different things is, I quote, nonsense. Pretty incredible statements. Let's take a look at this first segment, and then we'll also hear about McConnell's thoughts as far as stimulus is concerned. Make sure you watch the video all the way through to the very end because some super important comments from McConnell about stimulus are also coming up. Let's take a look at McConnell's concerns about remote schooling and about certain opinions about remote schooling that are, in his words, nonsense. Let's roll the tape.
White House go-to source. The president's chief of staff keeps saying we need even more massive federal funding before teachers can go back. There's no scientific basis for that, none whatsoever. The goalpost moving doesn't stop with money. In several places, these unions sought to elbow toward the front of the line for vaccinations, only to room anytime soon. Too often, local officials just roll over and submit to these tactics. In my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, the largest school district in the state has a union-funded Board of Education vice chair. He's now saying that even if all school personnel get vaccines, he'd still be reluctant to open schools. In San Francisco, the 28-year-old Board of Education president, 28 years old, argued a few days ago that vulnerable kids aren't really missing out on learning, they're just learning different things. And it's the system's fault for not measuring all of the valuable cultural experiences they've had while getting stuck at home. What nonsense. Families are losing patience, and fast. We could not function with remote police or remote firefighters or remote dental surgeons, and we'd never pretend otherwise. Kids, parents, and a lot of talented teachers have given online learning their all. But we'll be deluding ourselves if we continue to accept this pale shadow of proper schooling when all the science, all of it, points the other way. No more goalpost moving. States and districts have got to follow the science and get American education back on track.
Boy, oh boy, those were some interesting comments from the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. Now, Chuck Schumer is trying to pass the massive $1.9 trillion package through the budget reconciliation process. And Mitch McConnell says the rushed budget process is not the right way to make law. Keep in mind, the Republicans want $618 billion in their proposal, and the Democrats, the American Rescue Plan, is at $1.9 trillion. That's a lot of money, folks. $1.9 trillion. So there's a wide gap between the two sides. And the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, basically said, hey, President Biden wanted something bipartisan, but Chuck Schumer is doing exactly the opposite. He said the Democrats are setting the stage for what he calls a partisan jam, and he says this is not the way to go forward, and it's not the time to spend money irresponsibly. Very strong comments from the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and he essentially gives the Democrats a warning and says you're going to make the same mistakes that previous administrations have made when they try and push through with the reconciliation process. Very strong comments. Let's roll the tape, and I want you to let me know what you think.
Now, on a related matter, in the past year, Congress has worked together to pass five major rescue packages on a bipartisan basis. The Democratic leader spent months saying that any pandemic relief should pass with broad bipartisan support. He said last July, quote, sitting in your own office, writing a bill, and then demanding the other side support it is not anyone's idea of bipartisanship. But yesterday, Less than a day after several Senate Republicans spent literally 2 hours meeting with President Biden, Senate Democrats plowed ahead with a party line vote to set the table for a partisan jam. The new president talks a lot about unity, but his White House staff and congressional leadership are working with a different playbook. We'll be discussing the facts on schools, on jobs, and on health care in depth in the days to come. But the rushed budget process that will play out this week is exactly the wrong path toward making law. Senate Republicans will be ready and waiting with a host of amendments to improve the rushed procedural step that's being jammed through. We'll be getting senators on the record about whether taxpayers should fund checks for illegal immigrants, whether Democrats should raise taxes on small businesses in the midst of this historic crisis, and whether generous federal funding should pour into school districts where the unions refuse to let schools open. And this is just a small taste. The American people will see Republicans are focused on smart and responsible policies to reopen the country. And they'll see Democrats who seem desperate to make their first act in power the same kind of massive, partisan, poorly targeted borrowing spree that permanently wounded the last Democratic presidency right out of the gate.
That's it, everyone. Strong comments from the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about his concerns about the budget reconciliation process. Ironically, the Republicans have used the same process to pass the massive 2017 tax cuts, which gave the wealthiest amongst us breaks of well over $2 trillion. And here they are complaining about $1.9 trillion that will go, hopefully, to those who need it the most. The Republicans also use the process of reconciliation to try and dismantle Obamacare. So pretty interesting what's going on. That is the full story. That's why you come to my channel. If you learn something new, please click like. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. Don't forget to do that. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time.